Hey, good morning, my people. It is March 31st, 2023, approximately 10 a.m. my time. I'm going to keep this one short. I dropped the mother of all truth bombs last night as a result of Donald Trump being the mother of all irony. And I would highly recommend you watch that. And I hope you'll like and subscribe to me and this channel and share that, particularly in light of everything that's going on with Trump, as it illustrates and elevates everything that it is that this entire movement is about. So, just a quick word on some of the reaction this morning. I mean, last night I observed Matt Taibbi basically picking his lane in this whole thing, which I find incredibly problematic and disheartening, but it is what it is. Matt Taibbi has chosen to play his game the way he, and unfortunately, guys I admire like Russell Brand. Russell Brand this morning is like, reacting like this is all poison and distraction and everything else to try to find a pathway to his great awakening sort of thing. And the reason I mention those two guys up front is that, they're peers in terms of age. And, I can totally relate to what those guys are all about. And I actually like them on a fundamental level. But in terms of this nasty business and everybody projecting whatever they do, and if you want to call it media in terms of independent media online and clicks and eyeballs and everything else, everybody's playing to an audience. It's the razzle dazzle, like I was talking about in my last, truth bomb from last night. And of course, mainstream media is one aspect of that, and the independent reactionaries are another. And they're not so independent, and they've already picked their lane, and they're manipulative as well, which is highly unfortunate. And unfortunately, no matter where you go in the whole, space, the spectrum of this stuff, it's like high school. And, like I'll observe today, I guarantee it, I'll see Crystal Ball and Sagar and Genti basically reacting to what Russell Brand and Joe Rogan are reacting to. Why? Because it's in the algorithms, and everybody's playing to their audience. And I'm trying to morph and forge an audience. I mean, we've got 531 subscribers here. Let's take a look at here what kind of money, because I can't do it off the top of my head. What's 531 times 13? Well, that'd be $6,903. If I could get each and every one of you to invest $13, we'd have nearly $6,000. And then, if we got, I have to somehow move and merge and get 1,300, the original 1,300. Think of it as like 300 in that movie, 300, which was, what Leonidas and Sparta stepping up for democracy and freedom against the invading Persians and defeating them because their courage was so great. I mean, that's what I need from you, because this whole thing is insanely manipulative by power behind the scenes that are gaming all of us, honestly, to protect what it is that I'm revealing to you. Look, there is the beginning and end of everything is 2009 as a result of everything that took place in 2008, which took place because of everything that took place over the course of 3 decades before that. It's always a river that's made of decisions that create outcomes that, in this particular case, led to devastation and betrayal of the United States and the American dream and the integrity of law. I keep thinking about this whole thing. I'm like, God damn, what am I not seeing? The problem is I'm seeing it all in slow motion, and it is exactly what I'm telling you. Federal Reserve Act 13.3 was used illegally behind the scenes to provide trillions of dollars of liquidity to the bankrupt financial system that got that way through everything we show you in the con at www.thecon.tv. And it was an absolute crime of historic proportions. There's never been a criminal scheme like it in history, except for everything that's followed, which is just a continuation. Because what's going to happen when you don't hold criminals to account? Well, the criminals take over, and that's what's happened. We live in a corporate fascist state undergirded by a criminal syndicate that uses socialism to guarantee the mafiocracy, which is now fueling fascism. And that's the whole thing. And there is a revolution taking place right now. It's taking place with the much better organized and incredibly Machiavellian and incredibly sophisticated, and the resources are incredible on the right that wants to foster a white supremacist revolution. And they want to do it with Trump as their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's what actually he's saying. He said in his speech a couple of weeks ago, as the kickoff to his campaign at Waco, in light of all things Branch Davidians and everything that led to Timothy McVeigh, which is of course a white supremacist anti-government, deep state, hatred. They've been wanting to go to war for a long time. They have been at war for a long time. This is just crystallizing under, Donald Trump, who is, I don't know, a vaudevillian Mussolini at best. And he's a joke, and he's a pathetic clown, and he's a scumbag. And I call him the human stain. He's jump stain, both literally and figuratively. But now the law is circling the noose around him, and they're going to get Trump, and it's going to become centerpiece. But what I can't get out of my mind, and this is everything I said in my truth bomb last night, and I'm just going to let it go, and I'm going to move forward, because it's going to take unbelievable attention that tries to get everybody's focus on that. Meanwhile, look, we're literally approaching the deadline for the debt ceiling. We also know, if you've listened to me throughout this entire time period, we just had incredible bank runs that were immediately backstopped by the Federal Reserve, which is very similar to what took place in 2009, all predicated about what took place in the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s with the savings and loan crisis. This is all different versions of the same game. Who's in control? How are they in control? What we continue to do while you're sitting on the sidelines, right? While you're scratching your head trying to figure out, who to follow, who to be involved with, who represents best and matches your sort of outlook on how this world works. Be aware that the multinationals and the billionaires are going to spend billions and hundreds of billions on corrupt politicians and the judiciary to make sure that they have complete control of ultimately the Federal Reserve, which is supposedly not, loyal to anybody but its, mandate, and that's bullshit. Its mandate is to make sure that the rich stay rich and get richer. That's just what they've been doing, and we've been giving crack cocaine to money managers in, every degree of the financial system for the last 13 years to the tune of something like $70 trillion. Now, 30 trillion of it was used backdoored illegally because of the bankrupt situation, and I've got the evidence of that and the proof of that. And there's no bigger story in the last 75 years, maybe ever, considering everything that's on the line. Because what's on the line? Our democracy, our ability to function as the superpower that we were, predicated on dynamism, because the integrity of the law made sure bad actors couldn't disrupt and distort and pervert the markets so that great things would happen. Now, if we lived in a normal society, in my opinion, based on everything I've seen for the last 20 years, if we knew that Saudi Arabia was deeply involved with, the likes of Dick Cheney and the neocons of that time period to do something spectacular to maintain fossil fuel dependence for the next 2 decades and all the costs to the to the military-industrial complex, how would that change and calibrate your mindset towards what kind of country we are and what we're all about? And then ultimately, if you learn that 2008 was completely devised to set up millions of people, and I say it all the time, it connected the African Americans that were target of predation, that stole 60% of African American household wealth, that led to ultimately the only African American president and African American attorney general in our country's history that let fucking Wall Street get away with what they did. And then they, of course, revolved right into millions and millions of dollars. The corruption is sick. It's insane. And corruption births fascism. I need 1,300 warriors for truth and justice to join me in a populist tidal wave crusade to purge corruption. This isn't fucking nebulous. This isn't hyperbole. This isn't, I'm making shit up. I've got all the fucking evidence. Pardon my language. I didn't want to say that. I don't need to say that. I've got the evidence of everything you're seeing on display right now with all of the different indictments and investigations into Trump. He is an ultimate expression of everything. If you want to know more, please go watch my truth bomb from last night, March 30th, which says that, Donald Trump delivers the mother bomb of all ironies, and that after my headliner midday yesterday that the New York Times is playing you for a fool and I'm delivering you the Big Bang of truth. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. We need to create a media structure which starts with a podcast that you would invest in to create, which you're investing in the elevating the truth above the madness of lies. And then ultimately, if we get enough people behind us and we start to push, I've got the ability and hundreds of hours on the shelf that I could put into a multimedia campaign reminiscent of Live Aid that we take on a barnstorming national tour to show you exactly what's going on, because the entire system is lying to you. I'm tired of being the guy telling you all of this stuff. I want to be able to show it to you in a way that will blow your freaking mind, even though it's the exact same thing I'm telling you. So please share, like, subscribe. I'm looking for you to step up. Come on. They're all playing against you. They're all playing against us. We have to push back. If you and me and everybody you see who isn't a Nazi, who believes in dignity and integrity and liberty and sustainability, if we unite, if we become united, we can defeat tyranny. And failure is not an option. And 13 is revolution. And that's what this is. Because it's got to be those who believe in liberty and justice for all against the hyenas and the I want to call them denizens, but they're really more like I'm thinking of demons is what I'm thinking of. They're demons in the shadows, man. They're the I don't believe in heaven and hell. I don't believe I believe there's a higher force. Let's put it that way. I believe in the force. That's what this is. This is the force. This is the force of the light against the force of darkness. And the force of darkness is overwhelming everybody because people can become complicit in evil. And evil flourishes when good men do nothing. I mean, come on. We all know this. I'm asking you, please pull out your wallet, invest $13 in the most important moment in history. You will be regarded as one of the original 1300, like 300, like Leonidas, like the Spartans. We've got to defend democracy. We've got to defend truth. We have to overwhelm the madness of deception and lies with justice. That's what it means to be an American. That's what it means to be a patriot. Onwards and upwards. Rise, roar, revolt.